Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Craig of the Flip Flop Flipper. I've got exciting news from the island of Puerto Rico. One of my favorite things to do on this YouTube channel is to spotlight what's going on the island of Puerto Rico, and something amazing just happened. The government did something here on the island of Puerto Rico, and we're going to get into it. That could solve the housing crisis. We'll see. We'll go through it. You guys leave me lots of comments. Let's talk about this. This is going to be our first attempt, and I believe that we will be talking about this subject for years to come because it is very exciting and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. 7 years ago, almost now to the day when I came to Puerto Rico, I came with the idea that we would invest in single-family housing and small multifamily houses for either resale or long-term rent. Basically, affordable housing. That's what we've always done for 25 years. We've been investors in affordable housing. What does that mean? It means that we would buy these properties, fix them up so that we could sell them to families using FHA loan programs, or if we were going to rent them, oftentimes we would rent through Section 8, but we're talking about investing in affordable housing. This is something that we did when we were in Florida. We did really well with it over the years. We built up a nice portfolio of rental properties. By the time we left Florida, we had 50 or 60 doors in the state of Florida, basically in Central Florida, and we came to the island of Puerto Rico to repeat the business and start from scratch and do the very same thing. So affordable housing is in my DNA. It's what the Flip Flop Flipper really likes to do. In fact, I would say it's probably my favorite way to invest. So you aren't generally going to see me buying a multi-million-dollar house in Dorado Beach East and buying it for $3 or $4 or $5 million and then tearing it down and building something to sell for $25 million. I mean, as fun as that sounds, that's not something that I've ever done or been attracted to doing. So I like to buy cheap houses where I know that people live, where working class people live, people who were like me. I grew up in a working class neighborhood with working class parents. So that's what I grew up in. That's what I knew. That's what I've always done. The island of Puerto Rico recognized that there's a problem on the island. There's a housing shortage, and there has been for over a decade now. And really, this is an amazing attempt by the government. And guys, I don't like giving the government anywhere a whole bunch of credit. So stick with me. I'm going to go through what they've done, how it's going to help the island, how it could potentially help you as a real estate investor, as a value-add real estate investor, specifically like we are, investing in affordable housing. The act is called Act 182, but before we deep dive into that, let's talk about what goes on the island of Puerto Rico. Because of an exodus, a brain drain, so the young people have left the island for years and years. They go to the States for more opportunities. And for a long time, they really didn't have much of a choice. Finally, like only in the last few years, like really probably only since COVID, there is starting to be some of these people coming back to the island, and less of the young people have to leave the island for opportunities. So what that means is there's going to be more infrastructure being built. There's going to be more houses being built. There's going to be better jobs. More businesses are coming to the island. And this Act 182 is going to really help some people. I truly, truly believe it. So let's jump into what is Act 182. How can you take advantage of it? How can you help people who need the houses by buying distressed property and renovating up to its highest and best use, and then either selling it or renting to people who need affordable housing? Here's one thing that the government does really, really poorly. When they come up with these ideas, and sometimes a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while, and in this case, I believe that the government gets this one right, and they're going to help people, but then they don't advertise that it's available to everybody. So just before we even start telling you what Act 182 is, let me tell you who's eligible for it. You are, no matter where you are. Whether you're a local Puerto Rican person or you're living in California and you're trying to escape the super high tax rate and want to come to the island of Puerto Rico. If you come to the island of Puerto Rico, or you're already on the island of Puerto Rico and you start investing in this way, you can take advantage of all of these tax credits. And by the way, you can do a great service to your fellow man. You can be doing good for the people who are going to eventually live in the properties that you invest in, that you make good, that you make livable and serviceable. And so the whole idea is to encourage that kind of investment. And as a real estate investor, I say all the time, we get paid to solve problems. This is a problem. There's a housing shortage. There's basically no development on the island of Puerto Rico for more than a decade. And so now there is a chance for you, the everyday guy, to invest in a way that's going to help your fellow man, and it's going to also make you some money. It was enacted August 27th, 2024. So I'm talking about right frickin' now. This just happened. Every once in a while, the island of Puerto Rico is just the gift that keeps on giving, And this is a gift if you're a real estate investor. And guys, finally, this is some hope for you if you've been looking for affordable housing. Puerto Rico wants you to be a real estate investor, and they've enacted Act 182 so that you can profit from being a value-add real estate investor for the purposes of providing affordable housing to the island of Puerto Rico. So what's that mean when I say that Puerto Rico wants you to be a value-add real estate investor? There is a glutton of distressed and abandoned and decaying properties where nobody can live in them because, quite honestly, they're not livable. They've been sitting there and forgotten. We call them zombie houses quite often. They look horrible. They're rat-infested. They're dirty. They're gross. And they need a real estate investor superhero to come along and find the owners and buy them from the owners and then invest capital in them, which is value add real estate investing. That's why you love our channel. That's why you like and subscribe. Come on, do it, guys. If you haven't already become part of our community here, hit that subscribe button. I'm not asking for much. And guys, by the way, this is super valuable for everybody who's watching it. Who's eligible for it? Everybody's eligible for it. It doesn't matter if you're in the States. It doesn't matter if you're already living on the island of Puerto Rico, if you're part of the local population. Hell, it doesn't even matter if you're in Europe. If you can get here, come to the island of Puerto Rico and invest in this way, jump through the hoops that the government wants you to jump through, because nothing's easy when you're dealing with the government. If you do it right, you can take advantage of great tax benefits and 40% tax credits that will basically give you 40% of your total development cost in this kind of project back to you over like a 4-year period of time. A couple of things to remember. You have to set it up ahead of time. So you're going to want to learn the Act 182. You're going to want to know that the property that you are investing in sits inside of the zone that they want it to sit in, and that the government approves of your project. So you're going to have to set that up ahead of time. In tourism, we would have the tourism company out before we actually made the purchase so that the purchase price would be a part of the 40% tax credits. My guess, and this is just my thoughts, is that it's going to be something similar, although at this point, I don't even know who you go to pre-qualify the purchase that you're going to make. But know this, if you don't set it up ahead of time, just because the act exists, don't think that you're going to automatically get to take advantage of all of the goodies that I'm about to go into, because you won't. You have to set it up ahead of time. You have to jump through the hoops. Nothing is as easy as just the government saying one thing and then it actually being the truth. They don't do things that way. They do things in a way that they want to make sure that they know what's going on and that they can get credit for it. So you have to jump through their hoops. But if you jump through their hoops, let me tell you what you get for it. Under this code of the new tax incentive, if you invest in long-term rental property or distressed property that you're renovating up for resale, you can get a 4% income tax rate on this type of investment. The second thing that you can get is you get 100% income tax exemption for shareholders or partners or the members on the dividend or the benefits distributed from the exempt income. The third thing that you get, 75% exemption on real and personal property taxes, 50% exemption on municipal licenses, taxes, excise taxes, and other municipal taxes. I don't even know what these taxes are, but you're going to save half of the money. And before we get to the big one, the 40% tax credits, let me tell you the last thing that they say is a benefit. You get a 75% exemption on any tax, right, license, exercise, rate, or tariff imposed by any municipal ordinance in connection with the construction work. So to me, that means that you're going to pay only 25% of the tax on your permits. That's a big deal because these permits cost us a ton of money. When we go to get a permit, and let's say we're doing a $250,000 renovation on a property, and that's 11.5% that we have to pay for these permits, you're talking about thousands and thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars on just a $250,000 construction project. Can't even imagine how big the tax gets on things that we're doing. We're spending $2.5, $3.5, $4 million. I haven't even looked at those checks that we've written, but ouch, I hate paying taxes. But people who say we don't pay taxes as real estate investors, you really don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Let's get into the goodie. This is the big one. This is why I think we're going to see the island of Puerto Rico go from having a whole bunch of abandoned shit to having a whole bunch of affordable housing in the very near term. We're going to see people who are going to take on these investments because they already needed to be done. Like there's a need here. There's a huge housing shortage. And then there's, by the way, enough properties out there to solve the housing shortage problem if somebody would just tackle it. Now, the real estate investor is incentivized by the government, and they're going to give you 40% of your total investment back. I believe that means your purchase, all of the development costs, and the first year of operational budgets you'll get to put into a bucket, and they'll give you 40% tax credits. It's going to come over a period of time. You'll buy it today, you'll renovate it for the next few months, and then you'll get it rented out. If you get it rented out in this year, that will count as year one. And then in year two, you'll get the first tranche of these tax incentives. And then in year three, you'll get your second tranche. And in year four, you'll get your third tranche. And that will be your total tax, 40% tax credits. These tax credits that you get, you can use them to offset income if you needed to. Although if you're making your income through this type of investment, they're already letting you pay a very, very small income tax rate at 4%. But if you're assuming you have other income on the island, you can offset that with these tax credits. Or better yet, and what I like to do, you can sell them to a third party on the open market at tax time and get about 93 to 95 cents on the dollar. So if you got a $100,000 tax credit, you can get $93,000 to $95,000 that you put in the bank, and it's non-taxable, and it's just cash. I mean, it really juices your returns. It's very, very exciting. So if you did $1 million investment, you buy a property for $1 million, and then you spend another $1 million to fix it up, you're $2 million in, you get 40% tax credits on $2 million. That's $800,000, and you could sell that then for 93 cents on the dollar. That's $744,000 that you can put straight into the bank account. You're talking about a project that already was going to throw off a lot of cash. You've got tons of equity in it because you bought it really cheap because you're buying these abandoned and distressed zombie places. You're then doing the value add real estate investing. You're then renting the property out. Every time you do one of these things, your equity goes up, up, and up, and then they're going to give you $750,000 back that basically gets to be cash in the bank. How does it get any better than that? I can't wait to invest in this way. Comment below, are you with me? Do you think this is going to solve the problem of the housing shortage, or at least go a long way towards it? I do. I think that this is going to incentivize, most importantly, people out there on the island of Puerto Rico who've never done a deal in your life. You get to take advantage of this. You know the people who own these properties that are abandoned and distressed, and they're just sitting there. You're the best person to go make this deal and to do this value add real estate play. If you don't know how to do it, now you've got a game plan. You can follow our channel, and we'll tell you what we do and how we do it. We've even got a community over on the school platform that you're invited to join. Come and network with us. So if you want to come and join the free community, join the free community. There's hundreds of people in there that are like you, that are trying to get some more information. If you're beyond that, if you want to really kickstart your real estate investing career, then make the investment in yourself. Join us. It's called Apex. It's on school. The link's in the description. It costs $79 a month, guys. This investment will be the best you've ever made, and the price goes up in November. So hopefully this video is going to get out sometime in October, and you'll still be able to get in at the $79 rate. Come and join us on Apex. We're doing deals there, guys. There are people inside of Apex that weren't real estate investors 8 weeks ago that now are buying foreclosures with us. There are people inside of Apex that are closing deals in Maine, closing deals in other parts of the country, and closing deals all over the island of Puerto Rico. All right, guys, I think I gave you everything that we know, and we're very early on, so absolutely subscribe to the channel. Know that we're going to talk more about Act 182. Know that we're going to invest this way. We'll document it. We'll show you. We'll jump through the hoops, and we'll bring it to you as we do it. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us, guys. God bless. Let's do some real estate together.